Mihaka honua, awa iku, Hawaiian, ke awa. Ka awa neo Hiiaka, iku aiku I mauri o la kelondois. I mauri o la he awa kauluola no na wahine, kapu kai ka awa. Pele hona mea I kala haumea wahine, o ka wahine I kilauea. Nana ia ya hohonu kalua. O ma wahine makali, o lua wahine kalani. O kukuena 21 na wahine, I ka inuhana awa. Kanae na ke akua malihini, ke alama o kau. Hele hoi ke alama kayo puna, Ika mama, Ika puale. Iloa ka awa apua 25. Kapina I kukalaula 26. Hupuka akula ikayo pule na 27. Ana ake akua anoho ai, kanene ake kwa malihini. Translation, Pele indeed is my God. Calm be the heavens, peaceful the earth. Here's awa, fresh torn from the ground. Awa that's been lifted to heaven, an offering for goddess Hiiaka, a growth of the kingdom Maliola. Awa that makes for health and peace. Its woman band cleared by aspersion. Pele, O Pele of the sacred land, and thou, O mother Haumea, thou woman of Kilauea, fire goddess who dug the pit deep, niece to Mayu, Makali's wife, own child of heavenly Haumea, and thou Kukuina, that rules, in the right of toothing the awa, a brew that is fit for the gods, love offering this of the stranger god, denied alas the road through upland, Kayu and the lowlands of Puna, to Kama and the bird lime tree, sure route to the potent root of Apua, the up road to Kukalaula, thence leading to Sulphur Hill, land where the gods did once dwell, a law this, voiced by the stranger god. At the conclusion of this, Kuai-he-lani said to Hiiaka, if you are the woman that consumes the forests of Puna, when you travel, I will go with you. Ina ue ka wahine ai lawa Puna uhele auhele. Hiiaka did not wish to offend the aggrieved deity. At the same time, she could not consent to his proposition. In this dilemma, she did her best to soothe his feelings and reconcile him to his lot. Kuakwai ka hale hau, hale kanaka ole, e noho ke kayo makua. Ala ia ke ki ohu Pene wale no ka iki akua, awe kua. Translation, my God of the chilly mansion, a house without human tenant, abide yet the blasts of the sea, the slap of the broad leafy tide. Such the advice of a lesser god, my tender farewell this to thee. Kuai was indignant at this evasive dismissal of his entreaty. The thought that Hiiaka should countenance his perpetual imprisonment in the bleak cliff filled him with rage. With a mighty effort, he lifted himself and tore away the covering of tree roots, earth, and rocks that embraced him until he came to a crouching position. That was the limit of his power. He could do no more. A stony form in the mountain wall of Kahana, resembling the shape of a man on all fours, remains to vouch for the truth of this legend. Halemaumau, the lake of fire. Hiiaka constantly showed a lively interest in the important features of the landscape, often addressing them as if they had been sentient beings. At Kaipapau, looking out upon Cape Lani Loa, she greeted it as if it had been an old friend of the family. Lele Lani Loa, Uamali, Ke Ho Ae La Kamoai, Ahukai Inapali, Kaiko Olalo, Iwapi Ikai Iuka. Translation, fly Lani Loa, fly in the calm. At the moaning of Mo'a, mist veils the mountain walls. The breakers roll ever below, while ocean climbs to the hills. They passed through the lands of Lai, Malay Kahana, and Kiana, and at Kahipa they saw the crouching figures of Punahei-lapa and Pahipahialua, who stole away into the shelter of the pandanus groves without deigning to give them any salutation. At this show of disrespect, Hiiaka called out, Komo ikanahele uluhinau nahele hala o po kahalulu. Oya nahele hala makayo kahuku. He hala hoi kahala. Maloko mai oe. We entered the fragrant groves. hala groves whose heads make a calm, wild growths by the sea of Kahuku. But what indeed are your halas? Shall their murmur forbid you speech, make you dumb to my salutation? I make this kindly entreaty. To you who sit in the grove. They crossed the Waimea stream on the sandbar, which in ordinary weather dams its mouth, and climbing the rocky bluff Kehu-o-Hapu, had a fine view of the ocean surges tossing up their white spray as they ceaselessly beat against the nearby elevated reef fringe that parapets this coast, as well as of the Ka'ala Mountains, blue in the distance. This bluff of Kehu-o-Hapu, until within a few years, was the site of a little heiau, the resort of fishermen, and in it stood a rude stone figure of the fish god Ku'ula. From the non-mention of this interesting object, we have to argue either that the discovery and worship of this idol was of later date than the times of Hiiaka, or that she ignored it. Hiiaka, casting her eye about for objects of interest, was attracted by the odd appearance of the lily-like water plant uki, the detached floating clumps of which looked as if they had been fire-smitten. Ke aina mai la e kawai, ka maha uki o ihukoko, ke puhi ia la e ka makani. Hako e ka ua kawai iluna, ke kinai ia hoi ka iwi o kawai a eha. E hai ka leo he leo wale no. Translation: the lily tufts of ihu koko are gnawed away by the water and thrashed about by the wind, beat down by the rain from heaven. The wave ribs are flattened out. Hushed be the voice, merely the voice, from the same vantage ground, that of Kehu-o-Hapu. Hiiaka not only saw the dash of the ocean against the buttresses of the nearby coast, her ears also were filled with a murmurous ocean roar that gave to the air a tremor like that of a deep organ tone. Wayalua kai leonui, walono kauka olihue, ke wala wayawa e kuliwale ikaleo hileo no ke kai I. Translation: Why Alua, land of the sounding sea, with audience in upland Lihue, a voice that reaches Wahiawa. Our ears are stunned by this voice. The voice, I say, of old ocean. The landscape still held her, and she continued. O wai alua lai eha kamalino lalo away alua. Translation: Waialua has a fourfold calm that enfolds and broods o'er the land. Let us move on, said Hiiaka to her companion. There's a pang next my heart. Had I meat in my hand, we'd trudge to a water spring, and so be refreshed until we came to the house of a friend. Let's move. From the plain near Lauhulu, Hiiaka took a fresh view of Mount Ka'ala, and in a tone of bantering apology said, Forget me not, O Ka'ala. Perhaps you complain that I have not chanted your praises. Ala, kwa hiwi mauna ke hao, ke opu mai lala I ka maoha. Polue ai hola I lalo halea wao, ke kini ke hao anu kalena. Akahi no kanele o kalapo mai kai. Ao he moa o ka pone ka moa I. Translation: Ka'ala, dewy and forest-clad, bellies the plain at Ma'oha as it slopes to the land below. The cool dew fall comforts Ka'alena. First pinch this of want mid good luck. No dream of canoe voyage last night, no dream of disaster at sea. The story of Cape Kaina, that finger-like thrusts itself out into the ocean from the western extremity of Oahu, touches Hawaiian mythology at many points. Its mountain eminence was a Lana-Uhane jumping-off place, where the spirits of the deceased took their flying leap into ghostland. Here it was that the demigod Maui had his pusto when he made the supreme effort of his life to align and unite the scattered group of islands, and here can still be seen Pohaku o Kauai, the one fragment of terra firma his hook could wrench from its base. Here, too, it was that Pele stood when she chaffed the old demigod for having lured her on, as she supposed, with drum and fife to the pursuit of Lohiau, and now her sister Hiiaka stands in the same place. The subject was well worthy Hiiaka's muse. Lele ana o kaena, mehi manulai kamali, mihi kaha naka ua ola, na palio nenelesete. Me hiupai na ke kuai-la. Ka ale iwa ho ka e nete. Me he kanaka honu lai kamali. Ka papakea ike alo ka ala. Ua kui ka auli, anono, aula. Ka maka-o-ka-ala. E nonoho ana ike kai o kapeku. Kapeku ka leo o ke kai. O hoelo ka malama ke kumai la ka paoli i kai. Ka Hawaiian kai o ka aina. Ai kai o ka hulu manudu. Kai amona ka aina. Ahuale ka paiki. Ka pai niwenewe. Ka pai manua kana loa. A he hoa a oia. Huhaihe ana kalai o kalao. A kihe ia e ke kai o wawalu. Na oai pali o onu lao. Ino ako i ka wai o koheki ka pali. I ka pali ka wai. Kaupume ka lao. Hule ke kupa. Hunai ka wai. E haka muri wai. Wai o ka ena. Ena I hola e ka lao ka makali. Oio mai anake a mehe kanaka koala. Malo ana I kuumaka. Me hi hau kai lau ia ka lana pali. Kwa muloa pali o le honua. Hiki hone no ka hawoli. I ka hiki na mai a nei makani. He halakau makana. I ku hila o ka wale I hola noia o ka leo e. Translation. Ka aina point flies on its way. Like a seabird in fair weather, like the wings of a swooping gull, are the cliffs of Nenila, like the lash of the bosun's wings, is the curl of the breaking wave. In the channel of Ai, the gray sand that borders the lava, drinks the waves like a thirsting man, and purple and pink and red are the eye spots of the basalt that gleam in the sea of Kapaku. The sea gives a querulous tone. The season is that of Ho'ilo. A cloud pall shadows the ocean. Sure sign of a turbulent sea, of a tide that will deluge the land. Like the flood of Kahulu Manu, the god forms stand in due order. Forms that are swollen to bursting. The group on Kanaloa's altar. Friends, allies, I reckon them all. Cape of the Woods entices us on, besprayed by the sea of Wawalu, forefront Unulau's gullied cliffs. I drink of the water distilled. By the dripping pali walls, led forth in a hollowed log, the rustic denies it and hides it. 4 water streams has Ka'ina, and the summer sun is ardent. The blocks of stone like warriors move in procession before me, pilgrims that march along the crest of the steep ridge lay Honua. Ah, a new joy now do I find. It comes with the breath of this wind. And what is my gift in return? To my shame, it's only my voice. The rocks and huge boulders that dotted the barren waste of Ka'ina seemed to the travelers to glow and vibrate as if they were about to melt under the heat of the sun, a phenomenon that stirred the imagination of Hiiaka to song. Liwa ke kaha o kaina, wela ikala. Aina ihola ka pohaku a moabela. Ka hulionio holo ana I kamali. Haha ka pukawan, keki ke koa, ai ka hapai ai e ka makani ka malua. Uhua ye ke kolau, apakolau, hola le kula hulu. Ka hea ke keki ka wa, e holo, o I malike ka haona nelia. Awe halo ai mi ka ino I ka makani. Ka pipilua o ka leika ihu ka wa. He wawa ka makani, he na upo. Ke kai kuike koke nalo ka pohaku. Ke kupa hulo no kai, o pohaku o Kuai-he. A noho and a o pohaku o Kauai kai. Translation. Ka'ina, salty and barren, now throbs with the blaze of the sun. The rocks are consumed by the heat. Dappled and changed in their color, the sandholes sink, the coral forms heaps, urged by the breath of Malua, that fellow of mine from Kulau. When blows Kulau, then bristles the plain. Then calls the lad to the sailor, speed on while calm is Nenela. Such time you'll meet with good weather. The lap of the sea gainst the bow, a most thoughtless, good-natured wind that, when choppy the sea hid other rocks, a man of the sea art thou, well-versed in its signs of storm and of calm. O rock, thou rock of Kauai. Hiiaka addresses Pohaku o Kauai, The two women rig up a canoe. She salutes Kaina, salute to Haupu, sees Lohiau's spirit form. Hiiaka had large acquaintance with the natural features of every landscape, and if those features were of volcanic origin, she might claim them as kindred through her own relationship with Pele. It was hers to find friendship, if not sermons, in stones. This Na-maka-o-ka-ha'i, to whom Hiiaka now addressed herself, though in outward form an unshapen boulder as we see it today, the very one that Maui drew from its ocean bed with his magic hook Na-maka-o-ka-ha'i, was in truth a sentient being alive to all the honor claims of kinship. To him, in her need, Hiiaka addressed herself. E pohaku-o-ka-ha'i I kai-e, e poka-ena I na pali. I wa no maua. E ke akua I ka maka o ke hoa. O lohiau ipo e. Translation. O sea-planted rock of Kauai, night shadows the cliffs of Kaena, a canoe for me and my fellow, we would look on the face of our friend. Lohiau, the dearly beloved. I have no canoe, said Pohaku-o-ka-ha'i. The one I had was wrecked in a storm while on a fishing trip. One huge wave came aboard and split her from end to end. We had to swim for it, but surely such a beautiful woman as you will have no trouble in finding a canoe. There must be no lack of canoes making the trip to Kauai. In the lack of a canoe, let us have a plank, such as I see you are there using for a shelf. If that will serve you, you are welcome, said the old man. We shall also need an outrigger float for our craft, Hiiaka remarked. An ama outrigger float is a thing I lack, he answered. You must have some block of willy-willy, such as that one, for instance, which you use to hold your fish hooks, Hiiaka urged. The old man was able to meet their demands. The two women then set their wits to work and finally succeeded in lashing the parts together in such fashion as to make something that would serve as a canoe. Hiiaka, as the one in command, sat astern and Wahine Omao in the bow. As they sailed away, Hiiaka saluted Cape Kaena in these words. Holo Kaena la Iwakau-kahi la Kamali. Kalauhu lauhu kwao kalad. Ke kovelo lau leua. A o leua hoi. E translation. Ka'aina speeds along, a single canoe in the calm, the 400 rays that dart from. The back of the sun sink down. In the sea at Lehoa, the western waves of Lehoa. When well out in the channel of Kai, the site of the famous hill of Haupu, that now appeared to lift its head like a waterfowl stemming the tide, was an inspiration to song. Mingled with the pleasure, however, was the chagrin and indignation that came from knowing that at that very moment her own lahua preserves in Kona were suffering ravage from fire by the act of Pele. O haupu mauna kieki hoki aela pai-ka-lani. O hakeki makekua. Hike o lewa makealo. Awana ni hau ike kai. Pao lewa I kamanu. I pao I o au lewa hoi I. Translation. Famed Hapu, the mighty hill, lifts head till she touches heaven. On her back strapped a suckling child, while she fondles a fleecy cloud. And Nihau swims the ocean tide. Oh, my lewas, spoiled by the birds, alas, my lewas, alas, what a notion, Wahine Omao exclaimed. Who in the world is meddling with your lewas? While they were sailing along the precipitous coast of Kalalau, set in the windward wall of the island, Hiiaka saw, standing at the mouth of a cave, high up on the precipice, the spirit form of one who was no other than Lohiau. And again, she was moved to song. Akalalau ake, akapali oihaena, epehi mai anaka lawakua yaula. Pehi epehi mai anaka lawakua yau. O aukeia, o kamaka oke aloha la. Oke aloha hoi, E translation. Off the coast of Lalau, off Ke'i, when nigh the cliffs of Haina, the loved one beckons, he beckons, the loved one beckons to me. I am the one, the eye scout of love. Love indeed is my errand, I love. The ghost form of Lohaiao still continued to show itself as they sailed, and when it signaled a recognition of Hiiaka by beckoning to her, she could but answer it. Wa pueia ke wanika lehua o uka. Wa hoa iki ka ula ika papa. Wa huna ike kino ika pohaku. O kapua na ke ahune ike ala nui heleo kao nukupukupuset. Hele liula aitsa o kapoha kao. Kaulia akapoha kao he kilohana ia. He makaikai ia no kawa nui tanash. Hikahiko ia no ka wai o kaunu. Ia kaunu anei o ke aloha ia. A ia ola. Iha oi. Translation. The upland lewa is clinker heaped. Wee flame buds crop up on the plain. The tree trunk is hidden with rocks. Yet its flowers and carpet the path. The road this that leads to desire. One's travel stays not at twilight, nor to ease one's back of its load. My journeys to Kauhuanui. She is the goal of my passion. If love be the charge of thy aim, and I that charge, ruin awaits thee. The lame fisherman, his epic recital celebrating Pele. On arriving at Hana, Hiiaka did not go at once to Lohiao's place, but to the house of Maleha-koa, a man of chiefish rank, and one who had the reputation of being a seer. He was lame and unable to walk. For this reason his wife, Wailuanuia Hoano, had carried him down to the seashore, and leaving him there to his fishing, had gone home to her work of tapa making. She was busily wielding the tapa club in the hale kukukapa, while Hiiaka stood outside the enclosure and sang, Kunihika mone kalai I o waialiale la I wailua. Huki iru na kapopo wa kawaikini. Ala ia aela e nuno, nalo ka ipuha, ka laulama ukau kapa ipai ka leo heole e hea mai. E hea mai ka leo I. Translation. The mountain turns the cold shoulder, facing away from Wailua, albeit in time of fair weather. Waikini flaunts top lofty its rain cap, and the view is cut off by Nonu. Thus Humility Hill is not seen, nor Kapa'a's broad upland plain. You seal your lips and are voiceless. Best to open your mouth and speak. The woman Wailuanuia Hoano received in silence this sharp reproof of her haughty and inhospitable conduct, couched though it was in the veiled language of symbol. Her eyes left the work in hand and followed Hiiaka and Wahine Oma'o as they turned and faced the path that climbed the poly wall. Maleha-koa, lame, guileless, innocent of all transgression, meanwhile sat and fished. He had cast afresh his triple-hooked line, blown from his mouth into the water the comminuted fragments of the shrimps, whose bodies baited his hooks, and as he waited for a bite, he chanted a song to the god of good luck that reached Hiiaka's ear. Pa makani o ka lelewa e makani ka e hulalo o ka pali o kipu. I malenale na e wainiha I kaumako. Hi a naka lawaya na maleha-a-ka-ha'i. Translation. A wind squall drives the canoes in flight, dashing the spray against the cliff of Kipu. Peace, waves for my hook at Wainiha. Come fish to the hook of the fisher, the hook of Maleha-koa. Hiiaka's answer to this was a song. O Maleha-koa loaya o kapali. Keiki loaya wea Wainiha, mupuna oya kanialani. Lawaya kupali o Hawaiian. Aumomo ke ala haki. Heyena ka lawaya. Na Maleha-koa I hail thee, Maleha-koa, thou fisherman of the cliffs. As a youth you fished at Wainiha, grandson thou to Kuai-he-lani. Fishing now neath the bluffs of Hana, sometime breasting the steep mountain ladder. Send fish, O heaven, to this fisherman, send fish to Maleha-koa. As if obedient to the charm of Hiiaka's incantation, the breeze sank to a whisper, and the ruffled surface of the ocean took on a calm that brought fish to the fisherman's hooks. Maleha-koa looked up from his work, and though he did not recognize Hiiaka, he had an intuitive sense that it was her power that had quieted the elements, and with a shrewd insight, he divined that she was of the Pele family. It is you then that has made this day one of calm. And he continued his address in song. Uia e ka wahin ai la o puna. E ka lala I ka ulu o wahine kapu. E hia na ka loaya. Na-maka-o-ka-ha'i wahin o puna. E-translation, thou art she, O tree eater of Puna, O branch of Wahin Kapu's bread tree. Swarm, fish, to the fisherman's hook. Fish for the godlike woman of Puna. Male-ha-akoa felt a genial thrill pervading his system. New vigor came to him. He found himself able to stand on his feet and walk. Some new and wonderful power had come into his life. In the first flush of his ecstasy, he gathered up his fishing tackle, thrust the hooks and lines into his basket, and walked triumphantly home on his own feet. Without a word to his wife, he began to tear down a portion of the fence that enclosed the house lot. "What are you about?" exclaimed his wife. "Tearing down our fence. But what has happened to you? Here you are for the first time in many years, able to walk on your feet." The man made no immediate reply, but kept on with his work. When she repeated her questionings and expressions of wonder, he quietly asked, "Have you not seen two women about the place?" "There were two women who came this way," she answered thoughtfully. "Would you think it? They were divine beings," he exclaimed in a tone of conviction. "We must spread for them a feast. You had better prepare some luau." Male-ha-ko himself, Ali as he was, with his own hands set about dressing and preparing a dog for the oven. This was his own token of service. At his command, his people brought the material for an abundant feast. Hiiaka saw from a distance the smoke of Male-ha-koa's imu and recognized the bustle preparatory to a feast. She exclaimed to her companion, "The lame man has saved the day." When the repast was nearing its end and the people had well eaten, Male-ha-koa and his wife stood forth and led in the performance of a sacred dance, accompanying their rhythmic motions with a long melee that recited the deeds, the events, the mysteries that had marked Pele's reign since the establishment of her dominion in Hawaii. Koa Pele hakai kahiki. Ihaka kai me Na-maka-o-ka-ha'i. Mahuka mai Pele Hawaii. Mahuka Pele on analapa uila. E lapa ina mahina la. Elieli kau maite. He kai moe nei no Pele. No ke akua. He kai holale e na moku. Hai aku kai hana kahi. Ai ke wana waiolama I luna. Ako ia ka hale a ke akua. Ke amo la ke koi. Ke akua la I uka. Haki noa noa mai ka nalo mai kahiki. Popo e aku I ke alo o ki lauea. Ke kai huli I ke alo o papalawahi. Kanaka he ai ke ala. Ko puakano wahine kui lehua. Ka uka I ola ku moku lehua. I ke alo o heia o ku kuena wahine. Komo I ka lauili na huali. I ka nahele o puna. Ai anoho. E yamako lau kaula. La eli kau mai he kai ehu ko kohala loa. Kai papa ko ka pali I uka. Hi kai ke pali ko kupe hao. Kai pihala o ka aina. Ke popoi aku lai kai o maui. Ke kai aka wahine ali. O ke kai kui lehua Pele. Ako akua la e. Eli, kau mai. Hiiaka was so greatly impressed with this melee that she commanded Wahin Oma'o to restrain herself and observe the dignity of the occasion by eating more quietly. The young woman thereupon moderated her gusto and concluded her repast with less smacking of the lips, and the singers proceeded. E oe mauna ika ohu ka pali. Ka haka leo ka ohi a uwe. Ike au ike ahi e ala, ka lua hine moe nanadote. A papa ena wai hau a wā kauhi. I laila pepe mua, pepe waina, o pepe ka mui kente, o kihele ia ulu ka makahaka akea. Oni heu kalo he ka makakahala. Eli kau maya molokai nui ahina. A kau nuhua he pali, a kukui o haupu ke akua lili. Puka mai Pele ke akua nui. Me hao mea me Hiiaka, me kukuena me o ka astu kin. Oke ake ahi ki e a hi onohi no Pele. Ka Oka-o-ka-lani la e eli kau mai. A nana I ka ula he. A mauna le kui ka le. Le Pele I kai I la. Wahinu po'o Hiiaka o lapuili o Haumea. Ua ono o Pele I Kana'i a o ka hono o Polihua 24. Hono iki a ino uno kua papa ai o ka moana. Ka ea nui kua wawaka. Hulaiki ka aina Pele. Aina o wawaka o ka Kuai-he-lani la. Eli kau mai kawai ai ke ole wa iluna. A ka pualana I kai o wailua. Nana mai Pele I laila. E waiho aku ana wahu. Aloha I ka wailu o ka aina. E ala mai ana mokihana. Wai a wau o Hiiaka. Hopa a Pele I laila. Au he kahu e ulu ai. Kehi aku Pele I kale kua loloa. He onohi no Pele. Ka oka o ka lani la. Eli kau mai. Holo mai Pele mai ka hikina. A kau ka wai mukini tisi. No, ka wai kumalai. Hoku Pele mai ke ki. No, I ke ki a Pele ma a ka pua o koi. Kana a Pele mai la. Kai a huakai mai Pele. A ka lai le lewe 30. Honi I ke ala o ka hala. O ka lehua o moka o lele konu te tut. Oia ka Pele a kui la. He kuna na hale ka pūlena. Hi he moe papalawahi. Hi hala no kilowea. I elieli kau mai. Haole mai, Pele mai, ka hiki mai. O ka hekili, o ke olai, o ka waloko, o ka wai paeka. O hai lau mea, o na wahine I ka wau mau kelela. Ho mai ana Pele liula e. Umiki, au huki ka ale kua loloa. Nua ka mona I ka lili o Pele. O ke kua nui ke kula iluna o ka lani. Wahia ka papa ku ka papa iawa. Ka papa akan mai he iahi maui. Ka haili o pua ke kua o ka la. A waia ka halaloa I akea. Eli kau mai o waka I nana I ka awala waia. Ku kapakai e kohala. O ke kua lapu e puloa. Ke ualo la I ka mea hele. Ke aku I lehua o kua o kala. Kui mai ana I makanoni. Ka lapu la helo opua la. Kala aku hoi e ka hoi I ka uka anu. I olohe koe ula. E mauna mai ana. Ka hikina o ka lau kumukahima. E haliko ai ana ka ama lelehi he. O kohala ke kaulai nala. E ka la pumehana ole o ka po. Ka ape 39 o ke au kau aku I luna. I ka mala. Eli kau mai he meka no wahea. I ka loa ia. Ai ka pua auhe ihi ka lawa hea. Ka ipu kau maha a kea kua. Pa mama ka pua na hoali. Kui ka lani ka hekili. O ka ualoku. O ka ula hea nere tebu. O ka oka nuo ke au. O ka umia lani wala. A hao ka hala ia. Lili ke akua. A kahi Pele a hoka terene ten. A kahi Pele a nene tenet. A kahi Pele la ai pau koerente. I pau I kohua I oni kea. Ai pahoho. Ai oi kamana. O hea pahoho la noho I hola ka lau kaula. E ka pau hale o ke akua. E ka neula Pele o kuihamala na ia kea. Hi huali na Pele hi noho ana ai lau. Na wahine pule mana. Na nei papawalu. Eli kau mai kiope mai ana ke ahia kanaka. I lalo ki lawea. Ai ku mau wa temtete ai kua mai ana ka pihe a ke akua. I luna I ka pali o mauli fuentantiera. O ka huawai maka I anei. O kanaka nana I huli pue o ka wai. Pua I ka o lau me ko makai nana fuentan. Hopu o I ka o lau hahawi ke akua. Kua ai Pele la puna Pele. Waiho ana I lalo la puka moe. A kaula I lalo la paheho ai oi. Awe paheho la. E holo e ka wa. E kaka mauna. O la Hiiaka I ka pori o Pele. Koi aku I luna I ka malama. Ama pi ai I luna I ka wiki shatan. Iho mai ama I ke aka o kanaka. Huili ama kui ka lau. La wea ama haona I ka eke. O hi paia I ka pola o ka malo. Kuana paia I lo ka unu. Leia na paia I ka huali mukala. Ka wana paia I luna I ka ala. Maunu paia. Halele I ka eke. Niao moala ehia inu awa. Eha oe o honu o kukuao, o hina lia, o ka apuhihi, o ka hihiwai. A e loli pua, a loli koko, a e. Led in the performance of a sacred dance, accompanying their rhythmic motions with a long melee that recited the deeds, the events, the mysteries that had marked Pele's reign since the establishment of her dominion in Hawaii. Koua Pele hakai kahiki. Hiiaka kai me Na-maka-o-ka-ha'i. Mahuka mai Pele Hawaii. Mahuka Pele on analapa uila. E lapa ina mahina la. Elieli kau maite. He kai moe nei no Pele. No ke akua. He kai holale ina moku. Hai aku kai hana kahi. Ai ke wana waiolama iluna. Ako ia ka hale a ke akua. Ke amo ala ke koi. Ke akua la I uka. Haki noa mai ka nalo mai kahiki. Popo e aku I ke alo o ki lauea. Ke kai huli I ke alo o papalawahi. Kanaka hea I ke ala. Ko puakano wahine kui lehua. Ka uka I ola kumoku lehua. I ke alo o heia o kukuena wahine. Komo I ka lawili na huali. I ka nahele o puna. Ai anoho. E yamako ko lau kaula. La eli kau mai he kai ehu ko kohala aloa. Kai papa ko ka pali I uka. Hi kai ke pali ko kupehau. Kai pihala o ka aina. Ke popoi akulai kai o Maui. Ke kai ka wahine ali. O ke kai kui lehua Pele. Ako akuala e. Eli, Kuai-he-lani was so greatly impressed with this melee that she commanded Wahine Oma'o to restrain herself and observe the dignity of the occasion by eating more quietly. The young woman thereupon moderated her gusto and concluded her repast with less smacking of the lips, and the singers proceeded. E oe mauna ika ohu ka pali. Ka haka leo ka ohia uwe. Ike o ike ahi ala, ka lua hine moe nanadote. A papa ena, wai hau a wā kauhi. I laila pepe mua, pepe waina, o pepe ka mui kente, o kihele ia ulu ka makahaka akea. Oni heo kalohe ka makakahala. Eli kau maya molokai nui ahina. A kau nuhua he pali, a kukui o haupu ke akua lili. Puka mai Pele ke akua nui. Me hau mea me Hiiaka, me kukuena me o kauka aikstu gilun. Oke ake ahi ki e a hi onohi no Pele. Ka mythology la e elieli kau mai. A nana I kaula he. A mauna le kui ka le. Le Pele I kai I la. Waihinu po o Hiiaka. O lapu ili o haumea. Ua ono o Pele I kana I a. O ka hono o Polihua 24. Hono iki a ino uno. Kua papa ai o ka moana. Ka ea nui kua wawaka. Hulaiki ka aina Pele. Aina oawa ka oka I ka lani la. Eli kau mai kawai ai ke olewa iluna. A ka pualana I kai o wailua. Nana mai Pele I laila. E waiho akuana wahu. Aloha I ka wailu o ka aina. E ala mai a na mokihana. Wai a wau o Hiiaka. Hopa a Pele I laila. Au he kahu e uru ai. Kehi aku Pele I kale kua loloa. He onohi no Pele. Ka oka o ka lani la. Eli kau mai. Holo mai Pele mai ka hikina. A kau ka wai mukini tisi. No kawai kumalai. Hoku pele mai ke ki. No I ke ki a pele ma akapua okoi. Kana a pele mai la. Kai a huakai mai pele. Akalai lele with 30. Honi I ke ala o ka hala. O ka lehua o moka o lele konu te tut. Oia ka pele a kui la. He kuna na hale ka pūlena. Hi he moe papalawahi. Hi halau no kilowea. I elieli kau mai. Haole mai, pele mai, ka hiki mai. O ka hekili, o ke olai, o ka waloko, o ka wai paeka. O hai hai lau mea, o na wahine I ka wau mau kelela. Ho mai ana pele liula e. Umiki, au huki ka ale kua loloa. Nua ka mona I ka lili o pele. O ke kua nui ke kula iluna o ka lani. Wahia ka papa ku ka papa iawa. Ka papa akan mai he iai maui. Ka haili o pua ke kua o ka la. A waia ka halaloa I akea. Eli kau mai o waka I nana I ka awala waia. Ku kapakai e kohala. O ke kua lapu e puloa. Ke ualola I ka mea hele. Ke aku I lehua o kua o kala. Kui mai ana I makanoni. Ka lapu la helu o pua la. Kala aku hoi e ka hoi I ka uka anu. I olohe koe ula. E mauna mai ana. Ka hiki na o ka lau kumukahima. E haliko ai ana ka ama lelehi he. O kohala ke kaulai nala. E ka la pumehana ole o ka po. Ka ape 39 o ke au kau aku I luna. I ka mala. Eli kau mai he meka no wahea. I ka loa ia. Ai ka pua auhe ihi ka lawa hea. Ka ipu kau maha a kea kua. Pa mama ka pua na hoali. Kui ka lani ka hekili. O ka ua loku. O ka ula he nere tebu. O ka nuo ke au. O ka umia lani I wala. A hao ka hala ia. Lili ke akua. A kahi pele a hoka tere ne ten. A kahi pele a ne tene. A kahi pele la ai pau koerenche. I pau I kohua I oni kea. Ai pahoho. Ai oi kamana. O hea pahoho la noho I hola ka lau kaula. E ka pau hale o ke akua. E ka neula pele o kuihamalana ia kea. Hi huali na pele hi noho ana ai lau. Na wahine pule mana. Na nei papawalu. Eli kau mai kiope. Kiope mai ana kea hia kanaka. I lalo ki lawea. Ai ku mau wa temtete. Ai kua mai ana ka pihi a ke akua. I luna I ka pali o mauli fuentantiera. O ka huawai maka I ane. O ka naka nana I huli pue o ka wai. Pu I ka o lau me ko makai nana suentan. Hopu o I ka o lau hahawi ke akua. Kua ai pele la puna pele. Waiho ana I lalo la puka moe. A kaula I lalo la paheho ai oi. Awe paheho la. E holo e ka wa. E kaka mauna. O la hiaka I ka pori o pele. Koi aku I luna I ka malama. Ama pi ai I luna I ka wiki shatan. Iho mai ama I ke aka o kanaka. Huili ama kui ka lao. La wea ama haona I ka eke. O hi paia I ka pola o ka malo. Kuana paia I lo ka unu. Leia na paia I ka huali mukala. Ka wana paia I luna I ka ala. Manu paia. Halele I ka eke. Niao moala ehia inu awa. Eha oe o honu o kukuao. O hina lia. O ka apuhihi. O ka hihi wai. A e loli pua. A loli koko. A e loli ka. E lelea. O lelea makua o kahikona. Nana I hanu kahaka wakoko. Haina ai anakamana. O ke akua I wahola I lili. Eli kau mai. Pele oho lani o kukulu ka pahu a ka leo hoki ki kanawai. Hi kua a, hi kai o ki a, hi alamuku. Translation, let the drum though torn, snarl out the law of the burning back deep ocean's gulf and God's short bridge to heaven by the bow. Ua lili ka lani me ka ua o oki ka lani poele ka honua ai ka hanoa na o na hoali. Hano ke kai kamahine huna o ka lani. He momai he keiki kane. Oilika ua koko iluna. Hana oku walu me kana kane. Oku hi malana yakea. A ai e pele ai ku aina. Aina ka ohaya ka ulu halai kai o lelewi. He moku panaiwa, he o ka wale kau. He pu pele nui. Kahi e pele I ko aina hule wake au. Ili kau mai. Kui wailua ka puhela ka aipo. Holono I ka uwalo ka wawa nui. O ulupo maoli nei au he walo mai. E aloha ino o ikuwa achente diuna maoli nei. Ke lele la ka eka mua. Ka ino a amakani. Uki kolo e kaulana. Ka ua lele aku a lele mai. Lele a puhilala. Lele a kaulana. Ka hoa ka e hiaka e noa I ke kanainai no ka ohana a haumea ke kanainai. Ku a I ken ke kua. I ka ia nei manawa ia. No pele no hiaka no ka honua. Ana kukuka aha I loko. O hamo he ala I he a e ia. He pahu I kula I na. He pa I a ia. He kahua I hele ia. He luana mau. He kaunanako o kanapiko. He hola moena he lawena ipu kai. He kuhina wai he kaumaha ai. He haina no ka hale. Noa ya hale waia. Wakomohia no wai honua. Kuana o halau o lolo. Ka hale o pele ino hoai. Makai kai mai kini o ke akua. Hoi aku e. Hoi aku I wahona. Ka huna pulo ole. He lipule ole mai como wale mai ka hale o pele. O ku akuala e lieli kau mai. E kau ana kiko I ke alia kiko. He lea moa kiko a kahi nei au. Kaile pue. Nene I accentu. I atskako keiko. Oena e ka haki ana kuka ope. O kulipe noho I ka lua. Alele e na hoali o kuwawa. O kuhaili mo o kanaele o Hawaii. Akahi nei awa hoi aku nei mai o akula. Alele pakohana mai. Eli kau mai. Translation of Pele, her warfare in Kahiki with her sister Na-maka-o-ka-ha'i, of her flight to the land of Hawaii. A flight like the eye shot of dawn, a flight like the lightning's flash, that rivals the full of the moon. Wonder and awe possess me, for Pele the ocean sleeps afar, for Pele the godlike one. A surge now cradles the islands, and breaks on the land Hanakahi, or flooding the sands of Waiolama. God's temple is roofed with the fingers, and the thumb is lifted in earnest prayer by the concourse met in the uplands. High piles the surf that sweeps from Kahiki. It breaks at the foot of Kilauea, is driven back by the hot lava plates. Now calls from the wayside a human voice. Your suitor, goddess who rifled the bloom, from Maiolan Park of Loa, that smile in the lap of Hia, and the wreath goddess Kukwena. What a bestial and nondescript mix-up. Embroiled our chief in the thickets of Puna. What a passionate mounting. What a stay. Small show of regard for your fellow peers. Wonder and awe possess me, while the sea mist at Kohala Loa. Sea roughed by the breeze from the upper hills, sea that peeps o'er the cliffs of Kupe-hau. Invading the groves of Pandamus, it reaches the lowlands of Maui, the sea of this goddess, this queen. The lewas are twisted like garlands at the touch of this sea of God Pele, for Pele indeed is my God. Wonder and awe possess me. Thou mountain wall all swathed in mist, now groans the mountain apple tree. I see a fire of blazing rocks. I see an aged dame who snores on lava plate, now hot, now cold. Now 'tis canoe in shape, well propped. A chalk neath bow midships astern needs bail the waist where drains the bilge, else salt will crust like staring eye. Gray roving eye of lawless Niho, wonder and awe possess me. On famed Molokai of Hina, at the Pali of Unu-Ohua, where burn the lamps of Hapu, assemble the throng of little gods. Then comes forth Pele, a great god, Haumea and Hiiaka, and kukwena and oka-oka. If the small fire burns, let it burn. 'Tis the beaming of Pele's eye, the flashing of heavenly fire. Wonder and awe possess me. Now to Nanai of Kaulahea. At Mauna Lei Pele plats her a wreath. She plats it of Iee. Hiiaka pelts head with ginger cone. Haumea anoints her body. And Pele eats with zest the flesh from the turtle of Polihua, a young thing short in the neck, backed like a crab from the sea, like a sea turtle plated in patent, turned into meat for Pele, food for the heavenly flame. Wonder and awe possess me from the ether above Kauai to the blossoms afloat at Wailua, ranges the flight of Pele's gaze. She sees Oahu floating afar, feels thirst for the Watri mirage, inhales the scent of Mokihana, the bath water of Hiiaka. She once had a contest there. She had no tenant to guard the place. Pele spurns with her feet the long waves. They give back a flash like her eye, a flash that's repeated on high. Wonder and awe possess me. When Pele came voyaging from the east and landed at Mo'okini, the rain poured down at Kumale. Her people set up an image, and there they made their abode with the workmen who carved the canoe, and they offered prayers and gave thanks. Then Pele led them in journey to the Cape of Lele-iwi, where they breathed the incense of Hala with Mokau-lele's rich lehua. Goddess Pele weaved her a wreath. They built a village at Pu'ulena, her bedroom at Papalauahi, a mighty hall at Kilauea. Wonder and awe possess me. When Pele fell through from Kahiki, bitter the rain, lightning and quaking, the big drop rain that shatters the leaves of the women folk in Maukile's wilds. Pele came in the dusk of the night with toss and sway of the long-backed waves. The ocean heaved at Pele's rush. The great god thundered in heaven. The strata of earth were uptorn. The reef plates broken, crushed, and rent. Was the surf plank of Cain at Maui, with a piling of portents by the sun god over the green Lake Loa. Wonder and awe possess me. It was Wa'a gazed on the fishing fleet, his watchtower the cliffs of Kohala, while the witch ruler Opula entreated the wayfaring one and the goddess who gilds the loa. Set aglow Makanoni's sunlit verge, one day for gathering and choosing, the flowers devoted to worship, the next day in upland frosty Hua. The earth creatures glimmer and glow, while the eastern sun tops Kumu-kahi. Sidewise the black crab springs from his hole, and Kohala spreads out neath the orb that fails to give warmth to the night. And the sun hangs low in the sky, and the clouds, they canopy heaven. Wonder and awe possess me. Our ahea meets death spite of. Steam bath, a boil unpurged of bristles, and poultice hot of ahihia, an herb that serves as a dish for the gods, a tidbit for the king's table. Thunder resounds in the heavens. Rain falls, bitter as tears of Kaulahea. Clouds torn and ragged fill the sky, a piled-up ominous cloud pillar, a fabric reared by heaven's rain god. A collective evils was that. The gods were aghast at the scandal. For once Pele found herself duped. For once Pele shifted in bed. For once Pele drank to the dregs. The cup was the brew of her consort, her bed the spikes of a stone-armored passion had slaked. Where then was her armor of stone? The prophets in Congress assembled, consult on the rape of the goddess, red-headed Cain, coup of the trade wind. Compeers of Pele, consumers of trees, the women of eightfold incantations. Wonder and awe possess me. They stamp out the fire in the pit. Stand shoulder to shoulder, their cry. Shoulder to shoulder, echoes the throng. On the heights of Mauliola, where the green leaf distills the water. Men search for like hovering owls. Chew thou the herb with thy friend. I will offer mine to my God. The fault of Pele's condoned. She lifts herself from her huddle in bed, a couch far down in the pit. It now becomes plates of smooth lava. How like the flight of a swift canoe is the flow of the Pahoho as the mountain melts and rolls away. Hiiaka, the darling of Pele, then soars aloft to the realms of light. As the crab climbs up Kauwiki, the crab retreats from man's shadow. And when these black ones huddle together, they are easily clubbed with a stick. Their bodies then are thrust in the bag as the gray crab tugs at the mallow's fold, as he stands mid the heaped-up coral, while round him wave the pods of rough moss, or he rests on the flat coral plate. As time from the bag he's chewed into bait, so men spit forth their bitter words. How many guess at our Sir Crab? 4 gods, is the answer returned. Tortoise and turtle and kukuao and hinalea, and with them are Apuhihi and Hihiwai, along with Lolipua and Lolikoko, and Lolikai and Lelea. Lelea Makua fathered the fisherman's god, Kahikona. When he breathed, red as blood poured the rain, a sign of the power and wrath of the god. Wonder and awe possessed me. The heavens were turmoil with rain clouds, the firmament sealed, earth black as midnight. At the birth of the princely ones, the heaven-urging princess was born. Then came forth a man-child, a prince, and the blood-red rain poured down. Then was born Kualu and her lord, Malanai, the far-breathing trade wind. And thou, O Pele, then ate of thy land, consuming the groves of Ohia, and Lele Iwi's palms by the sea. Panaewa still was apart. Ka'u was made a cinder patch. By her might Pele threw up a mountain. Overwhelm your lands, O Pele. Let your fire streams flow. Wonder and awe possess me. Her lover's housepost stands in Wailua. There Pele hears a call that appeals. 'Tis a song voiced by Ulupo. She utters no word to answer this pleading babble of voices. Now comes the first thrill to virgin flesh. Impatient, the princeling crawls on his knees. There's plenteous downfall of tears as wind. Rain columns fall, or men leap and dive. Head first, feet first into the flood. These symbols will tell the tale, Hiiaka. For whom do I make this offering of song? For the ancient stock of Haumea. God Cain planted the coral reefs, a work that done in Pele's time. For Pele, for Hiiaka the land, this solid ground that swings and floats beneath the o'erhanging arch of heaven. At Anaku once met the gods, the road, thither lay through Ha'amo, but now, its drum is dismantled, its fence o'erleaped, the terrace trampled, a litter of straw, champed sugarcane, heaped odds and ends, a spread for mats, a clutter of dishes. There's dipping of water, serving of food. What a desecration of the house. The house is degraded and trodden, its taboo place entered, deflowered. Now stands a hall of common resort, where once stood the house of Pele. Now come the pygmy gods on a visit. Be off. Be gone from the place. A prayerless priest, a prayerless king is yours. Enter not prayerless the house of Pele. For Pele, I swear it, is my God. Wonder and awe possess me. The taboo flags fluttered in place just now. And now, the flags are removed by you. Men parcel the hills in the taro patch. They parcel the clumps in the taro ditch. The land goes free, the children secure. Unvexed be the people, the waters run free. Food bundles shall bulk in the patch. Coolie pay shall keep to the pit. The princes of clamor shall fly away. Give place to Ku, the smoother of lands, the planter of forest and field. I go in peace from your presence forth. I came to you in my nakedness. Wonder and awe possess me. One Ulu o Wahin Kapu. Wahin Kapu was the name given to the plateau over which Kaneohe presided, a very taboo place. As to the breadfruit tree Ulu, I have been able to learn nothing. Hiiaka learns of the death of Lohiau. With a nice feeling of etiquette, Hiiaka's hosts allowed the day of her arrival to pass with no inquiry as to the purpose of her visit. But on the morning of the morrow, Male Hakoa asked the question that put himself in sympathetic touch with his guests. "I have come to escort Lohiau as a lover to the bed of Pele," said Hiiaka. "Lohiau has been dead many days," they both exclaimed. "He took his own life out of a passionate infatuation for one of the Honopuwan women." "Let that be as it may," Hiiaka answered. "I will go and see for myself." Now Kahua Nui, the sister of Lohiau, had laid his body to rest in a sepulchre close to her own residence, but on examination the place was found to be empty. It was evident that the body had been spirited away. Hiiaka, turning her gaze to the mountain, discerned a ghostly form standing at the mouth of a cave. It was the ghost of Lohiau. In an effort to soothe and attract him, Hiiaka, with arms extended and face uplifted, in passionate utterance, gave vent to her emotions. "Kukane kapali ohaina, mai naina pali a pauloa, mai holulu no apoli halela, kukane hoi." Translation: "At last, my dear man, at last. On this rugged cliff of Haina, I have searched the whole mountainside, from Ho'olulu's booming fall to Polly Hale's buttress flank. I have found thee at last, my man." Again she scanned the lineaments of the shadowy form if she might find there the picture her mind had imaged. At second view, the ghostly unreality of the tenuous image so greatly shocked her imagination by its contrast to her ideal of a true flesh and blood lover that she amended her first utterance. "Aule ne ke kene. He hoa pi no ke aiahi, he hoa kaunu no ke o moe, no ka waina polo loa, o ke hoi lo la." Kuai-he-lani. Translation: "This surely is not the lover, to cling to one in the twilight, to fondle in the midnight watch of a long, long wintry night. Where, oh, where art thou, my man?" A creepy thrill came over Hiiaka as she saw the bloodless lips open and heard these answering words from the mouth of the weird object that stood on the pali wall. "Alas, my woman, alas!" you wail in soul recognition. "I was yonder at Kalalau, or sometime perched at Ho'olulu. Surely thou art the woman, thou?" With the desire to soothe the bewildered soul, Hiiaka again spoke. "Kukane ka makani kilihau kiliopu, ke pua kawai o ka mauna. He mauna pali no kalalau, a maua e hele ai. Mioe me ke kain la kukain, kukain o ka wapu wale. O kuwai luna o ke alo la, kukain hoi." Translation: "My man of the wind-driven mist, or rain that plunges clean as a diver. What time the mountain stream runs cold. Down the steps at Kalalau, where we shall ere long climb together. With you, my friend, with you, companion of the pitchy night, when heavenward turns my face." "Thou art indeed my man." A moment's pause and she resumed. "Alas, my man, alas, how altered is your voice, changed to the trilling note of the plaintive palalai that trills on the mountain ridge. Yet thou art indeed my man." Kawanui was greatly moved when she heard the words of Hiiaka and said with emotion, "It is evident you love my brother, that handsome fellow dead. If only the woman had been like you. What a pity that he should have wasted himself on such a good for nothing. Tell me, pray, where did you lay your brother's body?" asked Hiiaka. "Yonder," said she, pointing to a grass house. "Limaloa, who hails from Kaunaloa in Mana, bound on the thatch. That job completed, he went away with all the men of the place to bewail him. We 2 women alone remained to keep watch over him. There he lies, and we stand guard over his sepulchre." Then Hiiaka, girding herself with her divine attributes as a goddess of Kilauea, the power which on occasion availed to flood the plains of Puna with sounding plates of pahoaho, or to heap up the rugged at Makele, reached into the sepulchre in search of Lohiau's body. But it was not there. It had been stolen away by the 2 Mo witches, Kilio and Ka-lana Manu, and lodged in a cave high up in the inaccessible mountainside. The emotions of Hiiaka at this turn of events found expression in song. A limaloa ike kaha o kauna lewa hoi I ako mana kahela ohai aina kohele la e hupuni puni a malihini puni hoio e I. Translation: the deedess of Limaloa, that wonder monger who works in the barren land of Mana, who roofs Mana with Ohai. One there munches cane as he plods, his to deceive the stranger. I'm the victim of his deceit. Hiiaka, at the mention of Limaloa and the part he had taken in constructing the house that served as a sepulchre for Lohiau, jumped to the conclusion that he had been the body snatcher of Lohiau. Kahonui strongly dissented from this view. There can be no doubt, said she, that my brother's body lies in that sepulchre at this very moment. That is the reason for my keeping guard over the place. But why stand we here? Let us go to my home. As Hiiaka went with her, she again had sight of the ghost form of Lohiau standing in the door of the cavern, and she addressed to him this mele ako nanani maka iwawai e. Mehi nana halela ka ula I kekai. Ke moai lai kalima o kaunu lao I ke hoala I ke kua ole noa. He aloha na olua I. Translation: his airy phantoms queer the eye. And wawai nohu and yoni let. Kaula like a lanai looms at sea, while lifts the hand of Kaunala to smite the back of Lei no Ai. The sight enchants you twain. Hiiaka paused for a moment and then continued in a reflective mood. O kaula nui ka I akaka. Ua po ka hala ola I ka noi. O ka manuna e ke lele nei. Kailuna wahila la. Ke noho la I le noai. He ai aloha keia yawe la I. Translation: famous kaula looms crystal clear, misty and dark, the temple of health. Yet the birds keep flying around and about the hill Wahila. They settle at Leino Ai, a sight most pleasing to you. Hiiaka now perceived two female figures squatted at the entrance of the cavern, which they had carefully blocked and were guarding. These were the creatures that had stolen away the body of Lohiau. She at once raised her voice and addressed them with this threatening language. E aka e kilio e kapua e na wahine kapa ole nene wale ne. Ika hapapa kuyo pihi o ka luna I hala aniani la na wahine kapa ole. Translation: ah, aka, and you kilio, dowered with flower-like beauty, you women with naked bodies, who sometime flit over the reef plates, now squat over hala aniani, you shameless, you naked ones. The magic of these words worked their death purpose. The way to the sepulchral cave was now unobstructed. As they came, however, to the base of the cliff, they found that the ladder had been removed, the mischievous work of the witches. Ahain Oma'o was aghast. There is no ladder for us to climb up by, said the woman. Turn your face to the cliff, was Hiiaka's answer. The girl did so and used her best efforts to climb the mountain wall. The day was far spent and darkness would soon come on. Thereupon Hiiaka invoked the sun, bidding it stand still at the mouth of the river Hia. E kini e hiki I kawai I ko aina. Okoa makaiwa o halawa. Paya kona I o kino. Akoa nui o Hiiaka la. Hiki e pie I ho e kawi ka muli o he trede ka mali o e kala. Translation: come to your land to Kauai, ye hosts, ye warrior gods, keen eyes of pearl. Put forth your strength, O Kona, the mighty goddess Hiiaka. I bid you rise, climb, and descend. Now, stay your flight, O day. Stand still, O sun, or hair's water. One these Honopu women, 2 in number, were Mo'o, witches related to Kilio, a famous witch Mo'o of Hawaii, and their names were Kilioe Kapua and Kalana Mainu. Hiiaka utters many prayers to restore Lohi to life. Before proceeding to her task, Hiiaka instructed Maihakoa to call in the guards stationed at Lohia's sepulchre and to keep the hula going for the next 10 days as an attraction to draw off the people from playing the spy on her performances. Hiiaka and her companion conquered the impossible and scaled the mountain wall as if their feet had the clinging property of the fly. Lohia's ghost would have escaped, but with bird-like quickness, she caught it. At her command, Wahine Oma'o gathered certain aromatic and fragrant herbs of the wilderness, and having made a fire, they bruised and warmed the samples and spread them upon a sheet of leaves. While Wahine Oma'o kept fast hold of the feet, Hiiaka forced the soul particle to pass in through one of the eye sockets. It went as far as the cavity of the chest, then turned back and strove to escape. Hiiaka guarded the ways of exit and with skillful manipulations compelled it to go on. Reaching the loins, it balked again, but Hiiaka's art conquered its resistance and the human particle extended its journey to the feet. There was a twitching of these parts, the hands began to move, the eyelids to quiver, breath once more entered the body. They lifted and laid it on the blanket of aromatics and restoratives, swathing it from head to foot. Hiiaka set a calabash of water before her, and addressing Wahine Oma'o said, "Listen to my prayer. If it is correct and faultless, our man will live. But if it is wrong or imperfect, he will die." "He will not survive," replied Wahine Oma'o gloomily. "Stand to the fore, O priest, shrink not. Though thunders growl and lightnings flash, fill heaven's vault above, below. Come mistress of Tabos, come ye who string lays, and the goddess who mixes the dyes. Kanaloa alert soars aloft with hairy Ku, the offspring of Cain, and the women who cheer with a touch on the back, the chest, or knock at the door. Lest the charm depart, the prayer go wrong, with damage to me and damage to you, a pain in the head, a drooling nose, a shedding of tears, of love and regret. Now let the prayer speed on its way." "How was my prayer?" asked Hiiaka, turning to Wahine Oma'o. "It was a good prayer," she replied. "Its only fault was that it sped on too quickly and came to an end too soon." "In its haste to obtain recovery, no doubt," said Hiiaka. "Perhaps so," the woman replied. "Listen now to this prayer," Hiiaka said. "If it is a good prayer, our man will recover. Ho, comrades from the sacred plateau. Ho, comrades from the burning gulf. Hither fly with art and cunning, Ku, who fells and guides the warboat. Ku, who pilots us through dreamland. All ye gods of broad Hawaii. Kanaloa, guard well your tabas. Candle maker, candle snuffer, goddess too of passion's visions. Lightning red, all heaven filling, pitchy darkness turned to brightness. Lono, come, thou god of all fire. Come too, thou piercing eye of rain. Speed, speed my prayer upon its quest." "How is my prayer?" said Hiiaka, turning to her companion. The answer was the same as before. Hiiaka devotes herself to gentle ministrations of healing, but without intermitting the chanting of prayer songs, the burden of whose petition is that the spirit of health shall prevail in Lohiau and restore him completely. After again sprinkling the body with water from the calabash, she breaks forth, "Ia horulu ia mai au, e kanekapolei moai, ia ulu kini o ke akuala. Ulo mai o kene o kanaloa. O Hiiaka kaula mana ia e, nana I holulu ina mai, a ai aulu anoho I kokwahu. Ea kawaila hiwai ola I. Eola hoi I. Translation, come, enter, possess, and inspire me. Thou first, God of the flowery wild. Ye roving sprites of the wildwood, and master gods, Cain and Loa. Hiiaka, who calls you, lacks not. Empower to heal and inspire. Pray enter and heal and abide. In this one, your patron and guard. Here is water, the water of life. Give us this life. As in archery, the character of the arrow, the skill of the archer, and the caprice of the air currents that blow athwart the course of the arrow's flight may severally or collectively make or mar success. So likewise with the kahuna and his praying, success or failure was spelled by the quality of his prayer shaft, by the manner of his utterance of it, and lastly, by the physical and moral state of the atmosphere as to the existence or absence of noise and disturbance. It was not then through a mere silly curiosity or pride of utterance that Hiiaka appealed to her attendant to learn what she thought of her prayer, nor was it a vain and meaningless compliment when the latter declared the prayer to be good, the conditions favorable. At the same time, she could not repress the criticism that from her emotional standpoint of view, the prayer seemed short. Again, Hiiaka sprinkled the body with water from the calabash while she uttered this prayer song. Ianao, ilaka, kenya haiwahine, haipuokanaiele, haki hana maileo kawao, holule, hoyolaka, o Hiiaka, kaula mana ia, tanai holulu na mai, ae, aulu, anoho I ko kahu. Eia ka waila he wai ola e iola hoi e. Translation. Here stand I in stress, Laka, thou husband of Haina Kolo. What flowers have I plucked in the wild? What mele stripped in the forest? To twine into wreaths for Laka. Thus toiled the seer Hiiaka, and hers was the magic of cure. But come thou, Mount, enter, possess, give life to thy servant and priest. Here's water, the water of life. Grant life, the work of completely restoring Lohaiao by the necromancies of the kahuna, like a process of nature, required the ripening hand of time. The utterance of prayer must be unremitting. Hiiaka continues her prayers. While Hiiaka in her ministrations did not omit anything that might aid and expedite Lohaiao's physical recovery, her chief reliance was in the spiritual aid of the gods, for which purpose prayer followed prayer like the pictures in a moving show. He mele kuni kuni no lohiao, kulia e uli, kapule kan